They set her up as a joke. A paralyzed girl on a blind date. They laughed, thinking the man would walk away in disgust. But when he walked in, a single dad CEO, he didn't laugh. He took her trembling hand. And what happened next silenced everyone. Backhand index pointing. Right. Before we begin, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to our channel for more heart-touching stories that will stay with you forever. Sparkling heart. It started as a cruel idea whispered over coffee, a group of so-called friends laughing at the corner table of a cozy downtown cafe. Let's set her up on a blind date. One of them snickered. She thinks love still exists for someone like her. Their laughter echoed, blending with the clatter of cups and the low hum of life moving on. Something that hadn't been kind to Lena Hart, a 26-year-old woman whose life changed 2 years ago after a car accident left her paralyzed from the waist down. Once a dancer who could set any stage on fire, she now moved only with the quiet grace of her wheelchair, her heart carrying the weight of shattered dreams and forgotten promises. But even then, she still smiled softly, bravely, believing that somewhere in the world, kindness still existed. The so-called friends didn't see that. They only saw her chair. They saw her soft-spoken kindness as weakness. And when one of them signed her up for a blind date on a dating app, they told the man nothing, just that she was sweet, shy, and beautiful. They never thought he'd show up. That evening, as the golden light of sunset filtered through her small apartment window, Lena brushed her dark brown hair to the side, her reflection in the mirror both fragile and strong. She hadn't gone out for dinner in months. She wasn't sure why she said yes. Maybe it was hope, maybe loneliness, maybe she was tired of people looking at her like she was broken glass. She chose a simple lilac dress that flowed around her chair like gentle waves, applied a soft pink lipstick, and whispered to herself, "You can do this." Across town, Ethan Cole, a 34-year-old single father and CEO of a rising tech company, looked at the text on his phone. Blind date at Café Amore 7 p.m. Don't be late. He wasn't one for surprises, but his little daughter Lily had insisted. "Daddy, you always work. Maybe she'll make you smile again." Her innocent faith tugged at him. He smiled and promised her he'd try. He had no idea that tonight would change not just his life, but Lena's, too. When Lena arrived, her heart thudded painfully as she noticed a few familiar faces, her friends sitting a few tables away, pretending not to notice her. She didn't know they were watching, waiting for their cruel joke to unfold. She took a deep breath, ordered tea, and told herself maybe, just maybe, her date wouldn't show up. That would hurt less than watching pity flicker in his eyes. But then she saw him. Ethan walked in, tall, confident, with kind brown eyes that carried stories of sleepless nights and quiet strength. He looked around, then froze when he saw her. Lena's breath caught. She waited for it, the flicker of discomfort, the fake smile, the polite excuse. But instead, Ethan smiled. Not the kind people used to hide shock, but a real warm one that reached his eyes. "Lena?" he asked gently, walking toward her. "Yes," she managed, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm Ethan," he said, and then, instead of sitting across the table, he knelt beside her at eye level. "It's really nice to meet you." Something inside her cracked, not from pain, but from disbelief. He didn't hesitate. He didn't stare at her chair. He looked at her. They talked about books, music, and Lily, his daughter, who loved painting on walls more than paper. Lena laughed, really laughed, for the first time in months. Ethan found himself leaning closer, drawn to her warmth, her honesty, her quiet courage. He noticed the way her eyes lit up when she talked about dancing, even though her body no longer could. Meanwhile, across the cafe, her friends fidgeted. They expected mockery or rejection. Not this easy connection. Not this kindness. Their laughter faded into uneasy silence as they watched Ethan gently take Lena's hand when she hesitated to reach for her cup. "I can help," he said softly. Her cheeks flushed. "You don't have to." "I know," he interrupted with a smile. "But I want to." For a moment, time slowed. The world around them blurred. Just two souls, one healing, one rediscovering what it meant to care. But the cruel game wasn't over. One of her so-called friends decided to push it further. Pretending to walk past, she accidentally spilled her drink near Lena's chair, laughing. "Oh no, guess someone can't keep up even on dates." The cafe went silent. Lena froze, mortified. She wanted to disappear. Ethan stood slowly, his eyes cold now, his calm voice slicing through the tension. "You think this is funny?" he asked. "Because humiliating someone stronger than you will never make you powerful." The girl stammered, suddenly realizing who she had mocked. Ethan Cole, the CEO, whose face often appeared on magazines. Gasps rippled through the cafe. Ethan turned back to Lena and knelt again, ignoring everyone. "Are you okay?" Tears welled in her eyes, but she smiled weakly. "You shouldn't have to defend me." He reached for her trembling hand. "Then let me stand beside you." And that simple promise spoken in front of the world broke something dark inside her. Not her spirit, but the chains that told her she wasn't enough. For the first time, she saw herself through someone else's eyes. Not as a burden, but as someone worthy of love, laughter, and respect. When the night ended, Ethan insisted on driving her home. They didn't talk much on the way, but silence felt easy, safe. Before leaving, he said softly, "Lena, I'd really like to see you again if you'd let me." She hesitated, heart pounding. "Even after tonight, especially after tonight," he said, smiling. As his car disappeared down the street, Lena sat by her window, tears spilling freely, not of pain, but of gratitude. Somewhere deep inside, a forgotten melody stirred, the rhythm of hope returning. And far across the cafe, guilt sat heavy on the ones who had mocked her. They had planned a joke, but instead they witnessed a beginning. Days turned into weeks, and what started as a blind date slowly bloomed into something beautiful. Ethan kept showing up with coffee, with laughter, with stories about his daughter Lily, who couldn't wait to meet Miss Lena, the lady who smiles like sunshine. He never treated her like she was fragile. Instead, he saw her strength. Together, they went on quiet park walks, movie nights, and rooftop dinners where he pushed her wheelchair under the stars, saying softly, "You deserve the sky, too." But the world wasn't always kind. One afternoon, Lena rolled into a charity event with Ethan, and whispers filled the hall. "Is that his girlfriend? Poor thing. He could have anyone." The comments cut deep, but before she could retreat, Ethan stepped up to the stage. "You're right," he said into the mic, his voice steady. "I could have anyone, and I chose her, because she's stronger than anyone here." The room fell silent. Lena's eyes filled with tears as he reached for her hand, holding it for everyone to see. From that day, she was no longer the girl people pitied. She was the woman a powerful man admired, respected, and loved. And in his love, she found her courage again. She began teaching dance to children with disabilities, her wheelchair spinning like poetry across the studio floor. Ethan and Lily cheered from the front row, their smiles brighter than any spotlight. The cruel joke that once tried to break her had become the reason she found a love that healed her. Sparkles. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to hit like and subscribe because kindness once shared always finds its way back. Red Heart.